Hi, it's Penny here and welcome to another weekly reading vlog. Although it's currently Wednesday, so I'm a little bit behind. I might wrap this up with next week's reading vlog. We'll see what happens. I do have a bunch of reading that I want to do this week-ish, but also probably tomorrow we're going to go camping. Right now it's horrible rainy weather, but hopefully tomorrow things will improve a bit. I do have this memory of a time we went camping around the same time in the year in the same place that we're going to go, and we woke up in the morning and it was absolutely freezing. So that's probably going to be a thing, but I'm also really looking forward to just spending some time in nature and getting away from everything. Books that I'm reading at the moment. So I have been reading this and I'm actually going to try and finish as much of this as I can today while I do things. I'll do the read a chapter, do one thing, and hopefully I can get through it. It's an epic fantasy that I've been reading for about 50 million years, probably like 6 months. I think I started it for the Orilium Readathon last year in like November, so it's been taking me a while, but I've recently started trying to read it on the couch instead of in bed, and I find that works much better for me, and I've been making progress, so definitely going to try and finish this one off finally. But this, look at the size of it. Not a great book for taking camping, so we're not going to take that one. Another thing that I am reading is Assassin's Fate by Hobb. I'm not reading it physically, I'm listening to the audiobook. I'm probably about 10-15% in. It's a 45-hour audiobook, so it's going to take me a while, and I am really loving it. Mostly it's just been kind of reintroducing us to where people are. We did get a big section with the characters from the Dragon Keepers series, which I really enjoyed. Just getting a bit more of an ending, an idea of what happened to them. Also, maybe I'm about to learn a bit more about Calcid and what happened with the people there. Anyway, it's doing a great job. We're learning lots more about the magic. There were definitely a few emotional bits, mainly kind of memories of earlier things that made me tear up. So I'm going to keep listening to that. I'm going for a run after this, so hopefully I can try and get through a lot a day if I want to get through this in a reasonable amount of time. And I thought maybe I could also read some of it physically, but again, this, not a great book to take camping. Too big. So I looked at my list of like easy camping books, and I think I'm going to take Gallant by Schwab. Now, honestly, I don't usually get a lot of reading done when we're camping because normally we're just busy exploring and relaxing. But I think this is, even though it's written under the name Schwab, which I thought she mostly used for like her more adult books, but I've heard that this is more YA. And the synopsis sounds more YA. It's like a young girl who receives a letter from an uncle she's never met to go to his family estate, but when she turns up, nobody actually knows why she's there. Nobody invited her, and then eventually she finds like some secret hidden away part of this house. I don't really know. There is lots of art in this and a book within the book, so I think this should be a nice camping book if I get some time for reading. So I think I finished packing. Maybe I've forgotten things. I know Jace is going to tell me I've packed far too much for just going away for a couple of days, but like, too bad. That's how many things I have got. So you can see I've packed Gallant as my book to take with me, and I guess that's all the holiday plans. Reading wise, I have been listening to Assassin's Fate, and I've been really enjoying it. It's definitely still slow, which is what Hobb is always like. Oh, but there is some exciting stuff happening. So we're getting some of the live ships from the Live Ship Traders series, and like, I'm so happy to be seeing some of those characters again. But also, when I was listening to it last night, something happened which is quite a game changer for those characters, and like, if that happens, that's crazy. So I'm really enjoying how she's using this particular book to like pull everything together. As well, another element in this book that I'm really liking is like, there's a couple of characters who are like gender fluid. At certain times they're male, other times they're female. And some characters are struggling with it, but others are just like, don't worry about it, you know who they are. But I guess they're all kind of struggling with it because they feel like they don't know the other version of the person as well. But also there was one sentence where it referred to a single person as both he and her within the sentence, and like, it was the right pronoun both times. It was very nice. Anyway, I doubt I will read any more of that while we are away. I'm going to take my headphones, but like, it's not going to happen. I'm just going to be enjoying the sun. It's so sunny today. I do feel like I might melt a little bit, but also this morning when I woke up, it was so cold that I didn't want to get out of bed. So I have a feeling that tomorrow when we wake up in the truck, it's going to be freezing. But you know, that's just the fun of camping.
Chasing one another, getting lost in another summer. Never wanted it to end. Now I'm losing all my friends. I'm reminded of the pain when I'm on the interstate, me and the moon, and we think of you. Remember when we sat out in the football field, watched the sunset and succumb to all our favorite feels. But somehow I was sad, 'cause I knew that it would end. And I'll go home, all alone, but I'd be watched, and I'd be warm. I couldn't go to bed, 'cause you were in my head.
Hello? You're watching us again, are you? Watching us again? How can you hear upside down like that? Where'd you go? Oh, way over there.
When I'm on the interstate, me and the moon, and we think of you. Watch me as I fall into the sky. I'm feeling tears, but I didn't wanna cry. Even the bright stars burn out someday. Don't even try. You're just like a butterfly. Your eyes will always catch my eye.
Hello. So, I am back from camping and kind of sad about it. I wish we could stay out camping longer, but it was actually really cold and it's a really horrible grey, rainy day today, so it's not really the best time of year for camping. We did get quite cold when we were sleeping in the truck, but it was just really nice exploring the forest and not having anything to do for a few days. And I've come back and I'm trying to motivate myself to like get back into things, but honestly, I just had a really lovely nap. But I might go for a walk soon because I have a lot of my audiobook to listen to and I'm very behind on all the audiobooks that I need to read for the Orilium Readathon. So maybe I can use that to motivate myself to go for a run, even though it's kind of awful outside, but maybe if I go for a run, it'll warm me up, maybe? Anyway, let's talk about reading. I read Gallant while I was away camping. It's like 300 pages long, and I think I got up to like a page 100 and... I really need to put bookmarks in my books. I don't know why I've been so bad at that lately. I think I'm up to page 120, just before the book within a book, which I now know all about. I actually know what this book is about now. So we're following this young girl. She's an orphan at this not very nice school, although definitely part of what's not nice about it is that she doesn't really have a place in it. Also, she tends to see these dead things like ghouls, kind of like falling apart shadows of people. As well, she is mute, she doesn't speak, and the teacher that did teach her how to sign has left, so she can't really communicate properly with anyone except by writing, which she finds a bit tedious. But she does have this journal of her mother's. It's the only thing she has from her mother. She doesn't know anything about her family, and within that journal there's a lot of strange things. Her mother seemed to be kind of losing her connection to reality within this journal. But one thing the journal does say is you have to stay away from Gallant. But then she gets a letter from Gallant from her uncle saying, please come, we've been looking for you. And she's got nowhere else to go, so she goes, even though she knows it might not be safe, but she kind of doesn't know whether to trust what's in her mother's journal anyway. And when she gets there though, her uncle isn't there. It's clear the people that are there didn't send a letter, and I have a few suspicions about what's going on in this house, but mostly this is written in a really atmospheric way, and it's not really clear yet what's going on, even though, as I said, I have my suspicions. I do really like the way Victoria Schwab does atmosphere, and I think it's really lovely. The only thing I will say is I once saw Tia in all the books talk about how in Addie LaRue there's a lot of sentence fragments, and it's not strictly well written, and I agree with that in Addie LaRue, and I agree with it in this too, and sometimes it's a little bit annoying, but I do think sometimes I like the way it builds atmosphere. I'm definitely glad I took this as my camping book because it was easy to get through, which is what I need when I'm camping, and I have been really enjoying this. It's a little bit of a strange one though, because it is written for more of a younger audience. Like the main character is quite young, I think. Maybe in her teens, I guess. But at the same time, there's some dark stuff in here with the dead things and all that. So not entirely sure what age group it's targeted at. I'm going to save this for my bedtime reading though, because I think I will just fly through it when I read it at that time. And I've been struggling with reading before bed lately, so maybe having one that I'm really enjoying will help with that, because I definitely still need to keep this as a couch book. I read a little bit just before my nap, but I had a nap, so I didn't get through much of it. Yeah, and as I was saying before, I'm going to go for a run and see how much I can get through of Assassin's Fate. According to this, I've got 16 hours at 1.8 times speed to get through. I think I'm about 30% through, so I've got a lot to get through. And really, to get back on track with Orilium, I need to finish this by like tomorrow, which seems unlikely because that's 8 hours a day. That's a full-time job. I can't make audiobooks my full-time job. If only I could. Anyway, talking to you has woken me up a bit, so I guess I'll go on that run. So it is a really horrible rainy day today, and I had plans to be productive, but instead I've got my period, so I kind of just spent the morning lazing around, and to be honest, part of why I lazed around as long as I did is because I was listening to Assassin's Fate, and I just could not stop listening to it. Even last night I was going to read Gallant. I couldn't stop listening to Assassin's Fate. The revenge plot that I've been waiting for this whole trilogy, well, the whole last book, I guess. We finally got it, and like so much is going on. I often say I don't like action, but this kind of action, yes, I was loving it. It was making me feel so many emotions. I've cried so many times this morning. It's everything I could have wanted in the end of the book. To be honest, I wanted to just keep listening to it till it finished, but I realized that there's still like 5 more hours to go of the audiobook at 1.8 times speed. So I'm actually still quite far from the end, even though it feels like so much is happening that we must be going to wrap things up, but there are still a lot of things to figure out. Also, like, I'm totally in denial about one of the things that potentially happened, but surely it didn't happen. Surely not. I really love how it's using prophecy in the story. So there's characters in this who can basically dream the future. Of course, the dreams are very interpretable. The way that those dreams are turning into reality, despite how people have interpreted them, I'm really loving that. As well, the stuff that's happening with the dragons and the live ships is really interesting. And I'd forgotten from the Live Ship Traders trilogy how emotionally unstable the live ships can be, and how like terrifying that can be when all the characters are on this ship in the middle of the ocean. So they're like dependent on this ship for their lives, but then the ship is not emotionally stable and you don't know what's going to happen. I'm really loving it. I feel like so much has happened in this book, but I also feel like after the next 5 hours of audiobook, I'm going to feel pretty satisfied with how everything went, even though I'm still a bit concerned about certain characters and how their ending might end. But we'll see. I did finally manage to rouse myself out of bed to come here into the rain to go to the library and pick up my library books. I was also going to go to the supermarket, but the more it rains, the more I think, do I want to get out of my car again? Because I got very wet going to the library. But basically I got these 2 books, this extraordinary graphic novel by Victoria Schwab that I actually had a hold on ages ago, and somehow I never picked it up. I think maybe it came in over my Christmas holidays and I was away. Anyway, this is basically like a comic book spin-off of the Vicious series, so I'm going to try and get to that probably next month. And I've also got for next month Where the Drowned Girls Go, which is the latest book in the Wayward Children series by Shawnee Maguire. I'm hoping this one will put me back in love with this series, because I haven't loved a lot of Shawnee Maguire stuff that I've picked up lately. So I want to love this one. I've heard a lot of good things about it, so hopefully. So to be honest, I'm probably going to go home and finish listening to Assassin's Fate. Maybe I'll do some housework while I finish listening to it. Maybe I can manage to keep myself feeling somewhat alive. I really have to decide if I'm going to be brave enough to go to the supermarket in this rain. I don't think I've got any good food at home. I think I'm going to have to be brave. Oh no. Okay, so I look terrible, partly because of the rain and also because I just spent like an hour crying while I listened to the last hour of Assassin's Fate. I guess I'm listening at 1.8 times speed, so it's probably like 2 hours of audiobook that I was crying for. Just that ending. I guess you would say that it wrapped everything up really well, but also it was just heartbreaking. I'm kind of dead now. I need to go and like become human again. Is that even possible? In some ways that was a horrible ending. Horrible, awful. But also, like, it just set things up to close off so many relationships in such an emotional way. I'm gonna go die somewhere and I'll talk to you more about it later. Hello, so it is Thursday. It's taken me a couple of days to like process that I really have finished The Realm of the Elderlings. There's just so much to that series and I feel like it's a part of me now. Actually, look at my beautiful Realm of the Elderlings collection. When we went camping, we came across this woman with all these books out on the side of the road. They were a little bit expensive, but I did get the first 3 books of the Realm of the Elderlings, which go with the rest of my set. So I'm still missing some Dragon Keeper books and some from this last trilogy, but I got quite a few all in the same kind of editions. They're not necessarily the best condition, but still, I'm excited that I can read this series anytime I want. I feel like my lighting just changed, did it? I've set up, let's not talk about the weird lighting setup that I have. I think it's not great. Even though a moment ago I thought it was okay. Maybe it's because I moved. Oh yeah, don't move. Anyway, I think that if you have been enjoying The Realm of the Elderlings, you will find this last book very satisfying. Part of me would have preferred there to be a happier ending. And there are some daughters that I would have liked to get to spend more time with their father than they did. But at the same time, I think it was a very fitting ending for the rest of the story. I loved how much we got of the dragons and the live ships, and like the ending for the live ships was amazing. I'm a little bit sad that we didn't get that story from the perspective of the characters from the Live Ship Traders series. But still, it's also interesting to see those characters from other characters' perspectives. So I think it was still good. I definitely want to reread the series because we learned so much more about the magic in the world that I think going back you would pick up on so many more things. But also, there's still a lot of things that aren't entirely wrapped up, although I don't think they need to be. I have heard that Robin Hobb was working on another Realm of the Elderlings trilogy following B, but I'm not sure if we'll actually end up seeing that or not, because I know she was having some problems with it, and COVID has not been helping. Anyway, I've been trying to move on from Realm of the Elderlings, and somehow I have like a billion things in progress. So like all of these things, what is this pile? So I'm not even halfway through Ariel and reading these poems. I know at one point I thought I was too far ahead. Not anymore, because doing things daily just doesn't work, especially when you go away camping. So I started reading a little bit of this while I was getting ready, and I think I'll just try and leave it open and pick it up whenever I want to break and read a poem. I want to get into the mode of finishing things. I tried to finish Gallant last night, but I didn't quite make it. I got too tired. But I'm like 40 pages from the end. I am really enjoying it. Part of me wishes it was a little bit darker, because it's kind of written like a middle grade book, and I wish it wasn't. I really like the ideas, and it's got some quite dark themes going on. There's one part where a character dreams about another one shooting themselves in the head. There's ghouls all over the place that are kind of like falling apart and missing pieces of their body. So like this could be really dark, but because it's got this little bit of middle grade-esque I guess, whimsy and simplicity to it. It doesn't quite get into the darkness as much as I would like. That said, it's still, I'm really enjoying it, and maybe I don't mind the kind of whimsical element to it. I do like the atmosphere. I just wish it was darker. Anyway, 40 pages. I can definitely finish that tonight. I probably won't have time till tonight. I'm trying to work out how we can finish everything. But today is the only day I actually have something scheduled in the afternoon. I signed up to this like online conference thingy ages ago, and because I'm out of practice at doing scheduled things, I'm like, oh, I'm trying to be human today. Look, I'm vlogging. What other things am I reading? I've got these Huia short stories. I don't know. All of these short stories are just a couple of pages long, and I really struggle with short stories that are that short because you can't really get into the book, because every time you get into it, it's finished, and then you have to start again. This is why I don't often read short story anthologies unless they're longer, and I also often like ones where all the stories are written by the same author and kind of have some similar themes going on. This is just like a random collection of random ideas, and I need to get to it. When am I going to try to finish this? Maybe I'll try as well tonight. And then I've also got this. I need to find some couch reading time. I'm going to try and find some time today, but I am already behind, so possibly it won't happen, but I'm going to try. I can't believe it's Thursday already. I'm going to try. That's it. I'm going to try. I also really need to be studying Ballad. I'm behind. I have read so few of the Orilium prompts, and that's not even true. I don't have it here, but I've read, I think, like 6 prompts, but only 3 from my actual calling and 3 for other prompts. Oh, that's the other thing that I have read since I last talked to you. I picked up the audiobook of Skulduggery Pleasant number 3, this one. And I've pretty much got right near the end. I think I've got like half an hour of the audiobook left to listen to. Again, I was listening to it while I was getting ready, and I really liked it. Basically, somebody has started killing all the teleporters, and they're trying to figure out who it is, but they also, as part of that, figure out that the teleporters could be used to unleash these faceless ones, and that's something they want to stop. So then they're like, maybe this person who's killing all the teleporters isn't completely bad. But then a lot of things happen. These are very action-packed, which isn't always my favorite. I prefer more of like an investigation, because basically in this we've got Skulduggery Pleasant, who's like a paranormal investigator, also a skeleton, and then this young girl called Stephanie, who's learning, I guess, to be a detective as well, and learning about her magical abilities and learning about the magical world. It's a lot of fun, and I think it was a good pace change from the realm of the Elderlings. Definitely doesn't make me cry. So I've nearly finished that, and that's good, because otherwise I don't know if I'd ever have gotten over the realm of the Elderlings. Honestly, I cried so long, and the next day I still felt like the effects of crying for all that time. This is why I try not to cry, because just, it's not a great feeling. Even though, like, I say that, but I'm glad that book made me cry like that, because it was just so satisfying. Anyway, I'm going to try and film some videos and be productive and finish all these books. Hello. So I went for a rain walk yesterday, well, a rain run, and I feel like ever since then I haven't been very productive, and I don't even know when I last updated you, but it probably wasn't that long ago. Who knows? But now it's Saturday, is it? Now that I'm not working, I'm losing track of what day it is all the time. Also, like, it's a long weekend this weekend. That means nothing to me, so I'm not even thinking about it. But I should remember that people won't be working on Monday. Anyway, I am just packing my bag to go around and visit Jace. We're going to try and enjoy the sunshine somewhat, although I think it might go away by the time he's finished working. And also, since he's working, I was going to take a book to read. However, somehow, I seem to be, like, in the middle of a bunch of things. I normally read more than one thing at once, but normally it's one physical book, one audiobook. Since I started reading Child of Flame, it's often been one audiobook, Child of Flame, and then one other physical book to, like, be nice to me while I'm trying to also read this. So I'm thinking about taking this, but then now I've got even more things. I don't know. But I'm thinking about taking this, but also it's really big. And, like, will I be able to focus on it? He has a couch. I can sit on his couch and read it. Maybe. Maybe I'll take that. The other options that I have is I did make some more progress on this last night. I think I've pretty much decided I'm going to skip the Maori ones for now and come back to them one day when I have learnt some Maori, which is something I'd like to do. So maybe this will help encourage me to do that. I'm really struggling with this, and it's not because of the content of it, or I just don't really like short stories. And the last couple I've read were set during COVID lockdowns, and to me they felt more like mini essays rather than stories. And they weren't necessarily bad essays, but like I don't it's not what I want to read. So I don't know. I could take these, I could read them, but I am just feeling less motivated to read this than anything else, which is a bit sad. But also, like, I'm halfway through it, probably, once you take out the Maori stories, so maybe I should just take it and finish it. Maybe? The other thing I could do is start a new book, so I still need to read Ballad and The Excalibur's Curse before the end of the month if I want to get my alchemy calling completed for the Orilium Readathon. And that seems like a lot to get through. Let's not even talk about how many audiobooks I still need to read. But so maybe I should make a start on this. I'm a little bit scared of this because I've tried to read it a couple of times and not made much progress. But maybe, like, while I'm at Jason's, I wouldn't have a lot of distractions except for him. So maybe it would be a good time to start it and focus on it. Maybe? I don't know. It's pretty much a choice between these three. But I don't want to take all three. I could take all three just to have options. But it's not like the decision is going to be easier about which one I pick up when I'm at his house. I should just decide which one to take. I don't know. Anyway, other things that I wanted to update you on is that I did finish Gallant. To be honest, I was a little bit unsatisfied with the ending because I feel like everything that was set up at Gallant, Olivia should have been able to come in as a new element to things and gotten us to some kind of new state. I feel like she really just came in and learned about things. Some bad things happened. So in some ways things are worse now that she's there. It was trying to say they were better. Potentially it's metaphorical and you could align it with like grief and death. But like I wanted her to have a more positive influence on what was happening at Gallant than she ended up having. I do think it was a really interesting world, but again, I don't feel like enough was done with it for this to be all that there is of that. I feel a little bit dissatisfied, even though at the same time, I think I did really like it. I just think it had the potential to be slightly more than it was. But it was beautifully written and it had a lot of really cool ideas. I liked the characters. I wanted a different ending. Oh, another thing I have been reading is Ariel poetry. Still not even halfway through. But I can definitely get through this. I just need time. It's always what I need. And I will definitely get through this. I'm loving it. No changes there. The other thing I've been doing is listening to the audio book of, what's it called? The Burning White, which is the 5th book, the final book in the Black Prism series. The Lightbringer series is what it's actually called. And I think I'm like 40% through, let's say, because while I was being unproductive, I would just put it on and listen to it while I was doing not much of anything else. So at least I'm somewhat productive when I'm being unproductive. That's my argument. I am enjoying it, but I just feel like it's quite padded out. There's a lot of the characters philosophizing about what they're doing, and I do enjoy some amount of that in the story, but I just feel like there's a little bit too much of it and it could have been cut down a little bit. As well, our characters are all still split up and I'm still waiting for them to come together so that we can see how the things that are happening to them are going to affect what's happening to each other. I can definitely see where things are ramping up to. It's kind of quite a large element to do with their religion and their gods now coming into this war that they're having. And I think there's a lot of potential for the ending to be really mind-blowing. I just feel like it's taking a little bit too long to get there. Also, he just keeps doing this weird sex stuff and I don't need it. Just stop it. I want the story about the intrigue and the secrets and the magic and the gods. I don't want this nonsense sex stuff. Just stop it. Just cut it out. It's not adding anything to the story. And I'm not talking like smut. It's not smut I'm talking about. It's just like weird little hints of like weird thoughts that people have that seem very out of place with the rest of the story. It's weird. But we ignore those bits and we move on. So I'm gonna listen to that when I'm driving back and forth, I guess. I still have, after I finish that, I need to read 2 Wheel of Time books, which are very long, in order to complete my calling. I have no idea how I'm going to do that by the end of the month, but I guess we'll see. I'm not going to worry about it too much for now because I just want to go and enjoy the sunshine some more because I've been enjoying it a lot already.
Caught up in the web of my own fantasy, choking on the words that you said to me. Now I'm bathing in the aftermath, but I'm never going back. I'm never going back. Let your soul get too close to me. Yeah. Your heart is an ocean and I felt deep.
Hello. So it is Wednesday. I don't know what happened the last few days. I just wasn't feeling very sociable, productive, any of those good things. But here I am. One thing I did manage to do the last few days is I finally finished Child of Flame. This has taken me so long. And there was a part there, I think, kind of between pages 700 to 800. No, maybe 650 to 750. I was so bored. And I was like, how am I going to get through this? But then it did get interesting again. Kind of brought a lot of different things together. We learned a lot about what was going on in the past. I think we've got a better idea of what's going on with the magic and with this whole cataclysm thing. One of our characters died, which I wasn't happy about, but I am interested to see what the rest of them will do next. Because yeah, some not great things happened at the end of the book. I do think, like, just maybe you get this a lot with epic fantasies where not every plot thread is interesting, and there's a lot of times where it kind of gets stuck in all this political and historical stuff, which I really don't care about. But then there's other parts of the story that I do really love, and those parts are what keep me going with the series. So I've got the next book in the series on my TBR for May, so hopefully I can push through and finish this series, which would be nice because I've been reading it for so long. I almost don't really remember what the first book was like at this point. So then the other thing that I finished since I last talked to you is I finished listening to The Burning White. What did happen in the second half is what I was expecting. The characters all kind of came together for this final battle, and all the things they'd learnt started affecting each other, which is what I really love about this series, when it's like this person knows this thing, but because this other person didn't know, they do something, and it leads to all these tragic events, which is kind of awful, but I love the way it makes me feel. It's just really smart. I love it. I will say sometimes I think he's trying to write these friendship dynamics, and he does it pretty well. The characters are joking with each other. They seem like a real friend group, but I guess they're a real friend group in that some of them say things where I'm like, no, but you know, there's small things you can overlook it. I really liked there were some characters that were very unlikable, and it managed to twist them around to maybe not being as unlikable as you thought, although still kind of unlikable. As well, we learned a lot about the religion and the gods and the magic, and I think it was a pretty satisfying ending. Definitely there was a chunk at the beginning, and I think even the fourth book where I was a bit shaky on the series, but ignoring those parts, I really enjoyed this series. I think it's really humorous and clever, and it does some really amazing things with the magic. There is a lot of philosophizing, especially about religion, which I expect some people wouldn't enjoy. I don't mind it, but I will admit that sometimes he does go on and on a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, get to the point. But it was a very enjoyable series. No Realm of the Elderlings, but still pretty good in terms of how satisfied I feel about it. I don't think I cried at the end. Maybe a tiny bit. Not very much. Anyway, only one more day left of the Orilium Readathon, and I am in trouble. I still need to finish my Ariel poetry. I think I can do that. Maybe tonight I'll dance around and read poetry, although I was also going to do other things. I've still got to read this one again, maybe tonight. This one, can I read this in one day tomorrow, which is also my birthday? Probably not, but that's a problem for the next reading vlog, so I'm going to wrap this one up so we can start the next one, even though it's late. And you'll have to come along to my next reading vlog to find out how I did with the Orilium Readathon. I've also still got 2 more audiobooks to read for the Orilium Readathon, both of which are Wheel of Time books. I have actually started the first one. I think it's called The Shadow Rising. It's the 4th book. And I am kind of enjoying it, but it's kind of weird because it just kind of like flows over me. And if you ask me what's happening, like, I guess I can tell you, but like, is any of it actually important? I can never tell with the Wheel of Time, because it just seems like a lot of stuff happens and he tells you a lot of stuff that doesn't matter. So then the stuff that does matter, I'm like, yeah, but does it? And honestly, for 4 books into the series, I feel like very little has happened so far, but also a lot. I don't know. I'm very conflicted about the Wheel of Time. Anyway, I think this vlog is really long because I started it back before I even went camping. But anyway, thank you for watching and hanging out with me for these couple of weeks. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I read in this video. I don't even know how many that was at this point. But let me know. I'd love to talk with you down in the comments. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are doing well, and I will see you next time.